What's up, guys? It is John from Side Hustle Experiment. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am a six-figure Amazon seller. I do online arbitrage and a little bit of books, and I make videos helping people make money selling on Amazon, because I know there are a lot of people out there who really hate their job, and my goal is to show them how to make extra money so they could leave that job or just to make extra money. In today's video, it's going to be a little different than usual. I'm going to break down how you could get help for free from some of the biggest sellers on Amazon who have social media presence mostly. And we're going to kind of just break it down. I'm not going to make stuff up or anything. I'm just going to kind of base it on what gets my attention, and things that have worked for me in the past to network with much bigger sellers that I now kind of consider friends, or I could just DM or text whenever I need help. So this is also could apply to pretty much anything else. If you have like a favorite podcaster or something like that, it could work. Who knows? Let me know if this works for you. I'm going to give about like 5-ish different things it looks like. So let's just get into it. So a lot of the times, everyone wants to help. I know I help a ton of people. I know people who sell much more than me love to help people, and we just do our best to give back to the community, because at one point in time we didn't have knowledge of anything about how to sell on Amazon, and we're looking for others for help, and they helped us. So basically, number one, so for me, one thing that will definitely get my attention is if especially on Instagram, is if you are sharing something I posted and you tag me in a story, or you do something on your own Instagram post and tag me saying whatever, that definitely will get someone's attention. Some people have this blocked where you can't tag them, probably for this exact reason. But for most people, you could definitely do it. It would look like something if I did a tweet or something that you liked and I posted it and you said, hey, great advice from Side Hustle Experiment or whatever. That would definitely get my attention. I do that to people all the time. Make sure it's like good information though. Just don't do it to do it. So yeah, that is definitely one thing. Number two, I mean, that sounds super easy, but trust me, it gets they pay attention. Number two, this happens a lot with spammy accounts, but they just like all your posts. Not all of them, but like the last like 10 or 20 posts, someone just like likes it. And for some reason, I always click on the profile because I'm just curious. I would say like 25% of the time, the person is legit. 75% they're not. Or sometimes it's someone who I interact with normally, and maybe they just haven't been on Instagram and they just like all my stuff. But that is definitely one way to get someone's attention as well. And for all of this stuff, well, let me just do number three. Number three, these are all mainly for Instagram, really, is leaving a comment on a Instagram post or a YouTube video. I read all the comments and I tend to respond to all the comments. Obviously, if someone has a lot more followers, it's really hard to get their attention. But for the last three I just talked about, it really has to do with consistency. I'm not saying you annoy the crap out of the person, but if there are people who like every story that I post, and I really appreciate it, and like I just know that they're going to do that, or every post or story or whatever, and yeah, it really stands out because I see them basically every day because I post every day, and when they ask a question, yeah, they're one of the first people I respond to because I really appreciate them helping spread the word. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment, mostly leaving comments on posts or YouTube videos, make sure it's like thoughtful. I mean, I guess you could say awesome post or whatever, but like say something or ask a question or whatever. A lot of times I will respond to those, and I know other people will too. So yes. Now I'm gonna kind of get into like the bigger ones that are what will really like stand you out. Liking and sharing stuff is usually very beneficial, especially if that person's trying to grow, especially if you're saying nice things about them. But the fourth one is send a profitable lead to them, or a bolo or whatever. This has just recently started happening to me. A lot of people are starting to send me leads as a thank you for the YouTube or Instagram or whatever, just to say thank you, and I really appreciate it, and it's awesome. But yeah, I mean, that obviously gets my attention, and definitely really makes you stand out, because a lot of the times the problem becomes where people are afraid to reach out because they feel like they have nothing to offer the other person, and they don't want to bother them or whatever. I get that all the time. It's like, oh, I don't want to bother you, and it's like, you're not really bothering me. But anyway, if you send a lead that they could buy or is profitable, or maybe say, hey, I'm not really sure about this, but if you want to buy this, like, go for it, whatever, that will definitely make you stand out, because no one's really doing that, or not that many people. And trust me, I've done that to a lot of people, and it's always very appreciated, and it's one of the easiest ways to be like, oh wow, like, thank you, like, so much. It just takes it to a whole different level. So that is number 4. Number 5 is probably the biggest for me, and it's kind of like a 2-parter. So for the first part, it's going to be ask a really good question. Don't waste the opportunity. I'm not saying this to say I'm anyone or I'm just saying in general, like, if you're going to DM someone and you want their help or something, like, don't just say, hey, how do I get started selling on Amazon? Like, that's a terrible question. It is a lazy question. Do not ask that. Ask something specific or meaningful. Like, you shouldn't be asking, how do I set up an Amazon account? How do I list a book? Like, that stuff is all on YouTube. You need to be asking much higher level stuff, because that's what gets my attention. If you're like, hey, I watched your YouTube video on live sourcing with SellerAmp. Around the 2-minute mark, or around the 10-minute mark, you looked at this product, and I don't know, why did you say you wouldn't buy this? To keep it actually look pretty good. That is a very specific question. That shows me someone's actually like took the time to even watch something that I'm doing, and really wants to learn, because that is a good question. So really, really think about that too. When you're reaching out to someone, I always like to scroll through their Instagram. I go on their YouTube. I want to see, what they've posted lately, what they've been talking about lately, just so it makes it a lot easier to start a conversation. Not lately, but a couple weeks ago, I posted a picture of my dog, Buster, in one of the Instagrams, and a lot of people connected with that. They're like, oh, I have a dog, I just got a dog. People are sending me pictures of dogs or whatever. So you just never know what the person's talking about. Or a couple of people are like, oh man, your dog's awesome, like, I've been following your content, yada yada yada, I really appreciate what you do. And if it's just a little point. So if you could relate something to something that they posted or something that they recently talked about, it's definitely super helpful and will really help you stick out from the crowd. So that is kind of a breakdown. So in a nutshell, basically, to get their attention on a base level, you could like their stuff, comment on their stuff, share their stuff, Those are three easy, low-hanging fruit things you could do. You could literally just be sitting on the couch watching like TV or something and just like replying to people. It's not like a big deal. Much higher level, which really gets you traction, would be sending leads to people. Make sure they're really good and like you don't think they're going to tank, because that just reflects poorly on you. And don't be sharing it with like 10 other people. Like, send a unique lead. And then ask really good questions. Be familiar with their content. If you're asking, hey, what's your favorite sourcing tool? Or what do you use to source online arbitrage? If you watch any of my stuff, you know I use SellerAmp, I use Tactical Arbitrage, Keepa, that's out there already. Like, if you want to ask, like, do I need Tactical Arbitrage versus SellerAmp? I guess that's an alright question. It just really depends. But that is that. And then lastly, I would say, don't be afraid to reach out to people. I used to be afraid to reach out to people, especially the sellers, doing a lot more than I was at the time. But you know what? What I realized is that, like, when someone like DMs me or something, I love talking about Amazon. I love helping people grow their business. I love getting DMs like, thank you for the help. Your content's super helpful. So I'm always happy to help out. But always ask yourself, like, what's the worst that could happen? If you send me a DM and I don't respond to you, I try my best to respond to everyone. But if I didn't, then you'd probably just be like, well, he's a dick, like, whatever. Or maybe you're like, well, he's busy, like, maybe he'll get to it. Or, like, you really have nothing to lose. Like, the chances of someone getting back to you, I would say, are pretty high. Obviously, it depends on how further up the ladder they are than you. Or just for the sheer fact that they're busy, not because they think they're better than you or anything. Will depend. But it's always worth taking a shot. I can't tell you how many people I have in my network that either just DM me or I DM them and ask them a question. And usually it's about their story or a post that they post. And that's why I mentioned that before. It's so easy when someone's posting something. They'll be like, oh, like, I just crushed it with this cashback site. And I'd be like, oh, like, what was the cashback site, right? I feel like a lot of the times I tend to do this as well. Not that I'm like holding anything back, but I feel like if I post something in my story or on a post, that I should be prepared to like answer questions about it. So there's some things I'm like, well, I don't really want to like go over this or whatever. Just keep that in mind. It's real simple. Like, if someone posts something, to just respond, be like, hey, that's great advice, or hey, that's probably the easiest way to start. And it's very low barrier to enter. It's really not intruding or anything like that, because they posted it for everyone to see. So it's just natural for people to reach out. So we're gonna cut the video off there. Let me know in the comments which one you like the most, which one you're gonna try. Have you tried any of these? Or what do you do to get someone's attention? I would love to hear it in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.